¿Prefieres Chris, Christian, or Christian?
Hello and welcome to Pretty and Petty Podcast. I am your host for today and most of the time. My name is Esty, and if you don't know, where the fuck have you been? This is episode, I don't even know.
You never know. You never know. So why do you
even why do you even include it? That's like episode.
Don't just say welcome. Me. That's it. That's it.
It's like, I say whatever I want to say. God damn it.
It's like episode 30 plus or something.
30 plus. That's my age.
That's how you check the box when you do like a census and shit or a job application or something. It's like, what box am I in? 18 to 27, 28 to 35. After that, you're just like, fuck, I'm old.
I don't even check those boxes. I feel like those don't need to be known. Like, it's not gonna stop you.
Well, it's not gonna stop the listeners from listening to us and whatever episode we are in. So, booyah, bitches. And bitch 1 is Alex, and bitch 2 is Karen. So
she's not allowed to host anymore. Can I just tell you?
And supreme bitch is Esty.
Esty's just angry. True. She's just an angry troll.
I'm not an angry troll.
Yeah, you
Wait,
are.
which troll? Which troll?
I don't know trolls.
Oh, then your analogy didn't work. Anyway.
All right, move on.
Moving on. So tonight, ladies, we are going to go back into our Parenthood series. I feel like we haven't done one of these in a while. I think the last one was with Andy from the WDYTAT podcast.
That was good.
Yeah, and I think that was like when there was snow on the ground around there that we had recorded that. But here we are now, going back into this because we did hit a recent topic that came up in social media, and we kind of touched on it before in a previous episode around the same snow falling season. We're talking about parents and children and financials. So I don't know if you ladies are aware, but recently Quentin Tarantino, who directed Kill Bill and Django and some other movies, whatever.
A host of many movies.
Yes, a lot of. He's one of the best directors, though, like in history. Mm-hmm. He basically said that he doesn't financially support.
Esty, I'm sorry. Alex looks like she doesn't believe that he's that
no
good.
he's but not like one of the greatest. Like, all right, let's slow down there.
I think he's in the top list.
10.
Top 20. He's in the top
20. 20. Damn.
Top 20.
20. I said 10.
I think he's in the top 10, top 20. I think.
Okay, who gives a fuck?
I don't know. Because your face. You look like you wanted to argue that.
You look like she really doesn't like him. And
she was like, he's all right. He's okay.
This is what happened, right? She saw him at a bar.
I gotta
flirting with the straw.
Hold on.
Has a Hollywood story.
No, he's number 4 on here, so I gotta take the L.
On where?
I just said best directors of all time. He's number 4. Well,
I said it.
Yeah,
I said top 10.
Yeah, I thought Stanley Kubrick or Francis Ford Coppola.
Who's number 1?
Martin Scorsese, of course.
Yeah.
And Steven Spielberg is after that. Alfred Hitchcock is number 3, which I'm like, okay.
Alfred Hitchcock, yeah, but he is extremely talented. I mean, he was really good.
No, I know, but I just, Anyway.
All right, proceed. I'm sorry. We digress.
I thought she was going to say that she saw him at a bar and he insulted her when she was trying to suck on a straw and was like...
I totally thought she was going there too.
I'm just... whatever.
I never got a chance. I would love to work with Quentin Tarantino. Put me in one of them vampire movies.
Not after you just made a face when you heard his name.
No,
and literally said he's not like top.
I didn't.
At least you said top 20.
But did I not just take the L? I went and I said, you know what? I was wrong. I admitted my mistake. Shit, y'all don't make mistakes. Y'all perfect.
Yes, Emilio. Proceed, Esty.
Proceeding. Anyway, so recently it was said that he does not financially support his mother because she didn't believe in his dreams of becoming a screenwriter and completing his goals of getting into the industry. So I know that for us, right, as a parent, you kind of go through the whole taking care of your kid until whenever they leave your house. And I kind of wanted to bring this into the conversation of parenthood because I kind of wonder, right? Like me personally, I try to help my mom and do what I can for her and yada, yada. I don't see how it's easy for him, or maybe it's not easy. Maybe he struggles with it, right? To not financially support her. So I kind of wanted to delve into the conversation with you ladies because, you know, Alex, you're not a parent. You don't have kids to take care of or whatever, but you do have the responsibility of taking care of your father and your family. So you kind of have the role reversal here for you and your situation right now currently. So I wanted to get your ladies' take on this because I think it's an interesting conversation, right? I think a lot of people do end up taking care of their parents if they can, right? Because there's people that can put them in homes, or maybe the parent doesn't need help. In this situation, do you think, first of all, was he being petty? Yes or no?
To some level, but I want to say that there's more to their relationship than just her not believing in his dreams and him being pissed off about it. I think there's more to there. Like, there's a contention there, and it's probably more than that. Like, she probably, ignored him, and, I don't know. I just feel like it's more than, it sounds like it's deeper than just her not believing in his dreams, right? Like, I think it's more like her saying, you're a loser, no one's going to buy these movies, no one's going to read your stories, no one's going to nothing. Like, I feel like it's more than that. There's a level of mental abuse. And because, yes, clearly the act of not believing and supporting someone has a little bit of a punishment, it's painful, right? Your parents don't believe in your dreams. This is what you believe in. And, you hear stories of parents who move cross country just to support their children's dreams. But then this guy over here is basically like, nah, I don't support her because she doesn't fucking support me. But I feel like there's more to that story than just that.
So the story
it's more painful.
The story is, and this is from IndieWire. I think it's from IndieWire. So she was called into school because he wasn't paying attention in class, or something happened when he was writing his screenplay, whatever he was doing. Mm-hmm. And she basically told him, like, that was nonsense. He should be focusing on school. And then from that moment, he decided not to support her if he ever made it, right? So that's basically the story on that. He did say that he got her out of some tax situation that she had or whatever, some debt situation, and now he doesn't financially support her. So, and it is that she basically didn't support him in that moment where he was getting in trouble, didn't say, we can do it another time, something. She just said, like, cut it out. And that's the backstory for that.
Maybe he was petty. That sounds like really fucking
he's petty.
Because that sounds like someone I got mad at my mom a lot of times. Like, as a kid, like, my mom didn't let me, I cut, she caught me cutting, and I was supposed to try out for the cheerleading squad, and I was a shoo-in, like, I was supposed to be a cheerleader because I was that good. And she said no because you were cutting. And what happened? I didn't do the tryouts, and I didn't become a cheerleader. But, you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to be like, I fucking resent her. I could have been a cheerleader. I don't give a shit. Who cares?
You could have been a Laker girl.
That could have been fly as fuck.
You could have been one of the fly girls.
Word. Like, I could have been somebody's, like, backup dancer. Or I could have been my own fucking dancer. But nevertheless, I'm not going to sit here and be like, no, I did it by myself because my mom didn't let me try out for.
He's petty, and he needs to put his big, you know what it is?
He needs therapy.
First of all, he needs therapy. He needs a lot of things. But I think some people drag their childhood issues into their adult life. And listen, everybody's had issues. Everybody got daddy issues, mommy issues, whatever. But when do you ever say, all right, enough? Like, I'm grown now. I'm successful. I forgive you. Like, the reason why I say that is because, like, for instance, I'll give you an example of Kevin Hart. His father was a drug addict, okay? Left his mom, and because he was a drug addict, she kicked him out, whatever. He never had a relationship with his father. Now he's a mega millionaire. Okay. His mom's dead. mega millionaire. His father is coming back because come back into his life. His father is sick. His father probably got, I don't even know if he died or maybe he got a couple of years left in him. He's doing whatever his dad wants. His dad was like, listen, I got to buy this diabetes machine. He's like, Dad, I got you. Because he even said, he goes, I let that go. I forgave him. And that's somebody that actually literally fucked up his life. Like literally left him at a young age to grow up to be a man, like with his mother, was on drugs. Your mom telling you can't write because you need to learn and have an education. And I was just reading it. He's like, oh, I helped her with IRS situation. She gets no house, no Cadillac. Motherfucker. And that's the thing I don't like about some people, because you're going to regret it because you only get one parent. Now, if they're a shitty parent, unfortunately, that's what God gave you, right? That was what the hand you were dealt with. But never have any regrets that you tried all you could, because when they go, they're gone. So what he gonna do? Oh, but I bought her the best coffin, and I buried her in the best place. Like, get a fucking grip. Like, be a man. Be like, Mom, have a fucking family counseling where that triggered me. Yes, I became successful. I'm pretty sure the lady is so old now that she's like, I regret saying that to you. I'm so happy that you became what you did.
But my thing is, after she said that, he just held on to that in the back of his mind.
He held it.
He was going to be somebody.
Him.
So when he worked at the comic book store and he was, doing his come up, that shit still stayed back here. And
he said it.
She said, was that his drive? Like, I'm going to prove her wrong. That's why I say that there's more to that than that.
No, he said
there's
it.
more to their relationship than that. It's just that, first of all, he didn't realize his stories were going to be good. Like, because for a long time, they weren't. They weren't picked up by anyone. Right? He's weird. They are. You have to have like a, yes, I do love him. I think he's a great, story writer. But some of his fucking stories are weird. They're all over the place. What's it called? The first one, Reservoir Dogs. I remember the first time I watched that shit, I was young. And my brother-in-law, who wasn't married to my sister at the time, raved about him. Like, you have to watch him. You have to watch this movie. You have to watch this. We watched this movie. I must have been like 14 years old. And I was like, what did I just watch? Like, it was so many. So it was like an intricate plot, but not only that, all this death and chaos and shit like that. So for a long time, he wasn't being picked up. But I want to know, all this time, that was in the back of his mind. Like, I'm not supporting you. I don't care. I'm not giving my mother a fucking dime.
Probably. And while he was living in her house and she was paying all his, bills, electricity,
you don't want to pay
clothes, food.
Can we just talk about the fact that she gave birth to him and he's on this planet because of her cha-cha? Like, no, we're not going to talk about that. He's just going to be petty and angry that she didn't support his dreams.
He's a resentful fuck. You could never date that
he's
motherfucker. He's
fucking weird. First of all, he's weird as shit.
He's petty as fuck. He'd be mad probably if you didn't bring him breakfast or something. He'll hold that shit to the grave.
Like, fuck you. Who cares? You're crazy. You're weird.
No, I don't agree with that.
Do you think that we as children of our parents are obligated to support our parents?
Yes, absolutely. I'm on this planet because of them. So if my parents fell into some financial or dire issues, yes, they are my responsibility. They are my sister's responsibility. They're my brother's responsibility. They're the three of our responsibility. Yes, because they did everything in this planet possible to get us where we are today. And I owe everything to them. So yes, they are our responsibility. And I don't care. Yes, my mother, I didn't go away to college because my parents didn't like the idea of me going away to college. I wasn't a cheerleader. I was supposed to be a cheerleader. There's a lot of things that I can come up with. I didn't go to parties like that. I didn't, I had a curfew of like 11, still at 20. But I can't sit here and fucking be resentful and fuck my mom. I'm not going to take care of her, Let the states take her or something. Like, are you crazy? No way.
I think for me, I feel like we have to help our parents. I feel like I have to help my parent because she did it by herself for the most part, right? And she did it with little to no means to support me. So I feel like I owe that to her. And plus she does a lot for me now still. and for my kids. So for me not to help my mom with anything for me, it's not showing gratitude and appreciation. So
as a human being, forget about as their child, on a human level, right? It's even in the Bible. If you don't even believe in anything, but you believe in God, let's just say, and you're biblical, you're supposed to help your parents. You're supposed to honor them. And in honoring them, it's helping them if they need help.
yeah.
You know, it's, if I come up, they come up. It's just how it goes.
Yeah. Alex, for you.
Alex, how about you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, they like to give you that guilt too, right? So like, if you don't help, so like, you know, there's that guilt you feel that they like to embed in you from a young age if you don't help them, or they have a way of saying things without directly saying it to you, where you're like, or like my dad will call me and he'd be like, are you busy? And I'm like, what's wrong, Dad? And he'd be like, no, nothing. Just, you know, I need to put my machine on. But, you know, like if you're busy, like, so they like to go around so you can say, all right, I'll be right there. I'll come help you, you know? So, but I look at it like, I have one parent, but even if I had both my parents here and they needed my help or something, I try as much as I can to help them, because you're right. It's what we do. They raised me. And as they get older, your roles get reversed, right? You start being the parent, kind of, where you're like making sure they take their medicine, or they go to the doctors, or that they're good. So that's why when I hear people that were blessed, and this man is worth $120 million, for instance, Quentin Tarantino, right? You're blessed like that, and you've come up so much, like, and you have a parent that's still alive, and so many other people would want that, like, you know, their parent to be alive and would give them the world, and you over here being petty, and you hear him on the thing. I wish I would have dialed into some shit like that, because he was like, I told her, Mom, you're not getting that Elvis Cadillac or the house, and I'm like, motherfucker, like that's what your material, like, you don't look at it like you did me wrong, I forgive you. Like there has to be a time in your life where you forgive after all that shit. Listen, not everybody that's a parent was meant to be a parent, or doesn't know how to do it right. Not everybody. There's no book on parenting, right? They do what they could. So maybe she just didn't know how to communicate with you correctly because you're a strange fuck. But you getting me mad.
You can't be mad at her that you're fucking weird, okay? That she gave birth to a weird man.
She tried to talk to you.
She didn't know
you got that from your daddy.
Hell yeah. And you know how I feel about him.
That's strange too. At what age do you feel like or do you think there is an age where we now have to start that role reversal? Do you think is when we're financially?
It varies. Good? You know, it could be based off of, you know, physical health issues. You know, their parents who you know, children who take care of their parents, and it's because they could be younger than my own parents who are in their 70s, but you know, they have more physical or health issues, and so I don't think there is an age. I think that, you know, now I will tell you that on the flip side, I have heard some horror stories from children. Okay. I have a story that I heard where a teenager, she had to work and basically bring in money and give money every month, because her mom was literally like, in this house, we pay rent, and you're going to go to school and you're going to work and you're going to help me pay the rent. And she happened to be short one month and her mom kicked her out. And as heartbreaking as that story was for me to hear, you know, but then you have that flip side of the story. So here you have fucking childish ass, petty Quentin Tarantino complaining about his mom not believing in his dreams, where there's, you know, kids with real issues where their parents are literally like, you know, you go to school if you're lucky. It's because the only reason you go to school is because you have to legally go to school until you're 16. But if not, you got to pay rent. And, you know, my parents never asked me for a dime, not to pay a light bill, not to pay a phone bill. Not even, fake. I paid my car insurance, but my father literally, like, that's just to teach me some level of responsibility. But other than that, never. And so, but there are people out there, kids who are actually helping their parents pay for their, groceries. So.
Yeah. Alex, for you, just to kind of tap into you, at what age did you feel like you started like helping your dad more? And there's a reason why I'm asking this question. So when did you have to like really step it up and not be like a kid or a teenager or a young adult, but actually like, fuck, I have now this world on my shoulders?
Probably. So financially, I was like, well, we had like a family business, right? So I've been working since I was 9, right? Like I was always there helping, whatever, but it wasn't like, no, you got to help because we don't got to pay. No, we're 3 kids and we're in a family business and that's how it goes. Everybody pitches in, right? But financially, I didn't have to pitch in till probably like later in my like 20s, like late 20s. Because at that point, like, the financial crisis has happened and stuff like that. So I was pitching in, not because my dad asked, and my dad never asked. I felt I as an obligation to pitch in because I'm living now. I was living in the house and I had a good job and I was making income, and why shouldn't I? My dad, all my my life, I had a car. He paid for it. He had bought me life insurance for all of us. Like he was, we had life insurance. We had car. Everybody had their own fucking car. Like even though we all worked in the family business and we were getting a paycheck, he paid for everything though. So to me, I looked at it like, for me to step up at that point, I didn't feel like, oh, why I gotta do that? I just felt like, well, now it's their time. So I did that. And
not financially specifically, sorry to cut you off. Not financially specifically, but like as just being involved with everything in your family. So I know that you were like a caretaker and all that stuff.
Well, that happened like once my mom passed. I just took on that role. I took it on because I just felt like I needed to be there. And then as the years went by, I had to really be there because my brother got sick and then my dad got sick and then it spiraled. So then I just became the main care, like person go to. And, it does, and you how do I say this? Like, you don't know what you can take on, or like no one tells you to take this. Like I wasn't told to take it on. I kind of like just rolled with it and just took on the job just because I was like, I have to, like, I felt like I had to do, I was out, like not obligated, but it was just in my heart. Like I can't leave them hanging like that because they're men and they're dumb. And I just felt like, man, I don't know what the fuck they're doing. And like, even till now, like I'll come in the house, I'll be like, what? You don't know what you're doing. And, so, I took on like caretaker and all that stuff. And,
like at what age?
Like 23, like once my mom passed, 22, 23, like once my mom passed, I took it on more. And then as my brother got sick, so my brother had a massive heart attack and I was 28 at the time, I believe, 28, 29. So then I really, really became caretaker to main focus was my brother. So not a little bit to my dad, but then a year later, my dad had a heart attack, but then it kept focused just so since then, just main focus was my brother. Now it's a balance of dad and brother where I kind of check on both of them and try to make sure they're both good. And it makes me, I mean, honestly, to be honest with you, like, it gives me ease. I leave there at ease knowing that they're okay because that's my family. Like, and it's hard, of course, because I tell my dad all the time, you should have had more fucking kids because then we can, you can pass the ball. He
certainly should have had more girls.
Or more girls. I feel like girls
because the girls are more responsible. Yeah.
Yeah, the boys don't want
And to add to that, and I'm sorry, Alex, I didn't mean to cut you off, but Ludacris just had his fourth girl.
Oh, he's right?
His wife's second, him and his wife's second, and then he has two others. And he basically said, yeah, I'm a proud girl, Dad. And because I know that one of them is going to take care of me. Like the father of a girl will always have someone, or, you know, parents of girls will always have, so they rely, it's almost like they rely on us too. You know, that like they rely on the daughter taking care, like, he's not going to take care. Let's just on my son. Yeah, I don't count on Warren to take care of me, you know, because he's going to have his own family. But I have Emily and Brooke, and, you know, their asses are stuck with me. They're going to have to take care of me and change my diaper when I'm old.
Do you think it takes a mental strain when you have to take care of the parent? Like, and that's what I was trying to get with Alex. Like, do you sometimes feel like,
oh yeah, absolutely. Why do you think I curse most of the time? It's because it's a mental strain. You get frustrated, you get irritated, you snap. And sometimes I'm like, all right, I'm sorry, Dad. But you get mad because you're like, I'm one person. And they feel bad that they put it on you. After a while, they like, you know, but it's like, you know, when you don't know how, like at this point, you can't stop, right? Like you have to. You can't undo that. Like it is what it's like. It sounds so like it is what it is, but no, it really is, because it's just kind of like, it's an obligation obligation sounds like, oh God, it's something I have to carry with. No, but it's like a moral obligation as a daughter, as a child not even as a daughter, but as a child of my parents. I have the obligation to take care of them when they no longer can take care of themselves. Right. And, you know, they did it for me. And now I have to do, you know, like it's my job to do it for them. I mean, there's some people that
putting them in a home is not what I'm talking about.
There's some people that are like, why don't you just I'm like, my dad does his own thing. I'm not putting my dad at a home. My dad still drives. My dad still works. My dad is this, but there's certain things like I help him with. But yeah, you do get mentally exhausted because you're like, okay, but now I have my life because now I'm an adult, but I still have my family. So you have to also, it's a hard balance. I'll say that. It's a really hard balance where a lot of times it's swayed more to that, and you're less for yourself and more for them. And you got to you have your days where you're like, no, I need to just say no today. And I got to do this, or, okay, forget about me today. Let me do it. So it's for an adult or older child. And especially when, like, a lot of people be like, oh, but why can't like someone else do it or something? I'm like, who? Like you got people like it's easier to say pass the buck to someone else when there's nobody to pass it to. Right. So you got to take on that responsibility. And also I live with no regrets. So I can sleep very nicely at night knowing if God forbid anything should ever happen, I did my best that I could. And I don't have to live with, oh, I should have done more, or I should have bought her that house. I should have bought her this. I did what I did. Like I feel like people that are so resentful and hold so much grudges it's going to kill you inside. That once you wake up one day, you're going to wake up one day and realize, like, what was the point of me being like that to my parent? And they could have been a fuck up, your parent.
I think reasons to not support or help your parent would be like if your parent abandoned you, right? Or your parent is a person that abuses the help, right? Because there are parents, right? There are people in general that you do a kindness for them and you help them, and they just now even being capable to do something for themselves, they're like, fuck it, why? I got you to do it for me. You know what I mean? And
I think that's what's going on with Vanessa Bryant, if I'm correct. Vanessa Bryant, Kobe Bryant's wife.
Oh, yes. Well, she
has some issues with her mother where they were supporting her, and then the mom turned around and sued her, basically.
The mom said, like, you owe me money for babysitting the girls from ages this to that. And
That would be
petty.
that's some shit.
Petty.
That is petty. Because my mother took care of all her grandchildren from birth. Right. I've never had a babysitter. My sister has never had a babysitter, and my brother has never had a babysitter. My mom's taken care of all of our kids. And for my mom to be like, here's your bill.
it's like longer than a CVS
And it folds
receipt.
out, yes. Or
Santa's list. Yeah,
Exactly.
but
That's
then
some
the mom
bullshit.
did that when Colby died, and it's like this guy doesn't even have enough time in the grounds. And
He
even
wasn't talking to
home.
his parents, and he wasn't talking to his parents. If you knew that, Colby also was resentful of what his parents did.
I think that they didn't want anything to do with her. I think that, from the beginning, they didn't want that marriage.
That's a good story right there. Now, this is a man that is a legend. Everybody all around the world loved him. He also held a grudge because they did some stuff to him. But, he had 3 daughters. He's growing, all this stuff, and they never reconciled. And now, look, they, I'm sure, feel guilt. Because it can also
they never
switch.
reconciled before he died?
No, don't you see at the memorial, they were like on one side, and she was on another. They didn't even acknowledge the parents. The only person that acknowledged the parents was, I believe, Magic Johnson, was the only one that was saying, thank you to Colby's parents. No one else acknowledged the parents. She didn't acknowledge them. No one else on that stand acknowledged the parents. Now, think about it, because we can also talk about how parents will feel guilt. But these are parents that brought him up, took him, from Italy, all this stuff. He had culture, pushed him for basketball, all this stuff. And yes, he also felt a little void because of what his parents did, but there was no reconciliation. Now, look how he died. They lost their granddaughter and their son, and there was never a reconciliation. So
it sucks.
She doesn't have a relationship.
It's sad altogether.
And Vanessa
He's cool with his sisters.
So Vanessa bought his sister a car.
I think he has 2 sisters that she's cool with.
He has 2. He only has 2 sisters.
Yeah, but not the. You don't see the
Vanessa
parents.
bought a car for, like, as a surprise.
Yeah,
but
that I did know. I didn't realize that she hadn't rectified things, or they hadn't rectified things with the parents. But I did know that she was good with, like, his sisters were close to her. So whatever the case may be, but still, I mean, the whole point of it is to discuss that there's so many angles, right, of pettiness. So now we have the case of a mom trying to, blackmail in a sense, or just kind of like take advantage of this daughter, especially during her grieving time. She's so selfish that she's like, your husband's dead. Exactly. So now you're worth even more, and now you can give me more. And, we go from the level of, here's Quentin Tarantino being a fucking corny ass son, not helping his mother with her debts. And here's Vanessa Bryant's mother, who is a complete and utter fucking asshole.
She doesn't have any empathy. She doesn't have any sympathy for her daughter.
Because these are people that are thinking about themselves only. And I say that in both cases, right? Vanessa's mom is literally thinking about herself, because it's not like she doesn't have money. Vanessa Bryant came from money. I think her father's a judge or a lawyer or something like that. So the lady's been around money. It's just that she's just such a selfish bitch. All she cares about is herself. And Quentin Tarantino too. All he cares about is his feelings. My mom wasn't there for me. Go to therapy.
But that's people in general. See, so you got both coins of parenting, right? You got one parent that they didn't really hurt them that much, and the kid reacted that way. Then you got like somebody like Vanessa Bryant, who her mom was with her and they were supporting her and they bought her a house and blah blah blah. But the minute you cut, so that's another thing about parents too. When you say when is enough, and you cut them, they can either be like, okay, I understand, you got to do what you're grown now, you got your own family, or they can be vicious like that and vindictive and be like, I'm going to sue you now. I'm going to sue you and you're going to give me. So you don't know how a parent is.
Yeah, and I just think too, it's more for people who have parents that do need the help at some point. Obviously, your parents are well enough and they're educated enough to set themselves up and have their funeral arrangements already done, written out, and their will, and they have jobs and they have retirement. Like, those are not the parents that we're talking about, because those are the parents that obviously are different from what we're experiencing here, the three of us specifically. But if you are a person who is coming to an age where you're like, okay, now it's my turn to take care of my parent. I, like we're saying here, you know, each situation is different, but at the end of the day, we do hope that you have some kindness in your heart or full kindness to your parent, because at the end of the day, our belief here is that, you know, we reciprocate the love and support back to our parents, especially if they came from little to nothing to something. And or just breaking down, because not everyone is built the same either, right? Everyone has different needs. So that's the wrap up for our parenthood episode. And that's it. So
we hope you liked it.
We hope this conversation sparked something, right? I think we all have to start thinking about it at some point, you know, in our 20s, 30s. So hopefully this kind of guided your thinking and brought awareness and reality to your life. So if you're out there partying and clubbing and shit, that $20 drink, you better have another 20, because you gotta give your mom a compra later the week or the month.
Exactly. And be grateful, fuckers. Like, your parents, you know, you're here because of them. And yes, not all of them deserve medals and awards, because some of them are really fucking shitty. But nevertheless, there's also forgiveness, right? There's a level of forgiveness and we hope, you know, so it does you right. Forgiving is better for you than it is for that person. So,
not for nothing, but I will do a Quentin Tarantino. Anyway, toodaloo. Bye.
Peace.